like and subscribe. Now. Hackers of Reddit, what's the most disturbing thing you have ever found while hacking? College, ran a sniffer on my dorm network to figure out why it was going so slow. Found that literally half of the computers in the dorm were infected with the SQL slammer worm. I don't wanna Google this, sounds like a computer standard. It is basically NSFW. I managed to break my ex's father's password while snooping through files to see what I could find. I stumbled upon folders and folders of himself, his wife and various friends of his, wearing nothing but letrolsh and pissing on each other. They were in their 70s and it left me scarred. Wow, that was pretty ahead of the times back then. That my friend's homework folder contained nothing but actual homework. It was a sad day indeed. Wait, no, homework, just actual homework. The Codex Astartes does not support this action. Working in it for large medical group. Found animal porn on owner's laptop, home computer, office desktop. Owner was 72. Today I learned that there's such a thing called animal porn. I'm not a hacker by any means, but I did figure out how to make MySpace pages that were set to private viewable. Had to mess with the URL a bit and you could see any private page you wanted. Made me feel like I'm 1337 H4s or in like 2005. So what did you find that's private? Former atheists of Reddit, what made you turn to religion? Not me, a friend of my parents. He suffered a minor heart attack during a business trip, and the moment he arrived at the hospital, he got a massive heart attack. He was clinically dead for about 2 minutes before he was brought back. He hasn't told anyone what he saw, and whenever someone asks, he just says, "I really don't want to talk about it," but from that day on, not a Sunday goes by that he doesn't show up for mass. Edit. Thanks for the award everyone. To answer some of your questions. 1. He turned to Catholicism. Don't really know the details or the reasons why. I'm just passing the story along. 2. He really hasn't talked to anyone about what he saw. Maybe it was a mere hallucination. Maybe a vision of heaven. Maybe hell. I don't really know. Far as I remember, he's never told anyone about it. Not particularly religious, but one thing that gave me a new respect for religion was an essay written by a close friend of mine. Excuse me for butchering this, but he basically showed how communities that integrate religion tend to be more family-like. I believe this has shown to help with closing the gap between sociological inequality. In other words, church provides opportunities for different classes of people to collaborate. I also remember him being quite critical of mega churches because it encourages a sprawling, antisocial nature. When your church gets too big and too fancy, it disconnects you from the human aspect of church and reinforces the growing egocentric approach to religion that we often see. I read this as athletes rather than atheists and spent embarrassingly long trying to find the connection between athletes and religion. Athletes, the arch nemesis to religion. If only the Crusades were like the Olympics. If you knew that in 600 years archaeologists will discover your grave, what item would you take with you to confuse them the most? A Nike box with a modified picture. I would want them to think back in the day we used to just buy and assemble our own coffins like other pieces of furniture. Land pie, little boy's first funeral pyre and Viking funeral set. Some assembly required. Deluxe coins from board games. Archaeologists will be very confused trying to work out what civilization used that currency. We believe we have finally found solid evidence for the fabled island nation of Catan. I'd have a pair of sunglasses on, so future people would know that they're looking at one cool dude. Future archaeologists be like, why is this dude wearing a non-functional smart glass and why is it that color? A document dated 2621. That was neutron bombarded to make the carbon-14 isotopes appear, as if it was from the year 2621. I like how you think. Bury it somewhere easy to find so that it is discovered before 2621. You've been kidnapped. 2 hours later your kidnapper returns you because you don't stop talking about what? Alternative history based on slight changes to the timeline. If I was your kidnapper, we would have a wonderful conversation and I would simply return you. Because I enjoyed it. Why, thank you for releasing me after we discussed alternative history. how often I suck my own pee-pee. I don't actually do it, but it'll make sure awkward. Hey kidnappers, watch this. Gluck gluck gluck. My SpongeBob erotic fanfiction. If I were your kidnapped, I would shoot you. Case dismissed. What's something you'll say here but not to people you know in real life? Sometimes I feel jealous when my friends are with their other friends. I know that's not right and they're allowed to have other friends. And I feel bad about it, but I can't help it. My ex-girlfriend blew my mind with this one. When I think of you with other people, I feel a little sad, but I never see the person. I just see you and see how happy you are, and that makes me happy cause you're the person I love. I know very different, but maybe there's something in there you can take away about jealousy or in my case how to deal with it. I'm not that good at anything. I just do enough to get by. Then you're good at getting by. Not a bad thing at all. I've never thought of it that way. I'll be happy about it for a while. I shoved Orbis up my nose last year and they got stuck, so I had to go to the hospital to get them. I got a BB bullet in my ear, had to be put to sleep. Almost deafened myself by being a dumpf. They put you to sleep, man. Rest in peace. Why can't someone be there for me like I'm there for them? It sucks being that person that will go out of your way for others when you realize no one will do the same for you. Jessica, your cakes taste like poop. I think I should probably tell Jessica that so she can improve her cakes. What is the question you always avoid answering? When are you going to have a baby? Grandpa, when are you going to make me a grandpa? Me, you are a grandpa. Grandpa, grandpa, when are you going to make me a great grandpa? Me, I think that you're already great. Grandpa. What are you thinking right now? Ugh, seriously, I hate that question. It feels so invasive. If I wanted to tell you what I was thinking, I would. Otherwise, let me exist with my personal thoughts. What do you know, young man? Growing up in the Appalachian foothills, it was a common question. When I got older, I realized it was an icebreaker and a witty response was best. Takes a big dog to weigh a ton. Or 100 pounds of flour makes an awful big biscuit. Vertical bracket. 100 pounds of flour makes an awful big biscuit. Yeah, no crap, it's like 99% flour and 1% other. Why are you still single? If I knew, well then I wouldn't be. You gave me the ugly. What is normal in your country but weird in the rest of the world? We call a traffic light a robot. I really don't know why. Going to a hardware store and leaving with a sausage sizzle. Australia, sausage sizzle. Could also be New Zealand. In Denmark, if you haven't gotten married before the age of 25, you'll get tied to a street light and get showered with cinnamon. It's common to see big orange spots on the ground around street lights. It's a very old tradition and we don't actually expect people to get married before 25. But the tradition still goes on. Kissing the cheeks as a way to salute between men. It's pretty common here, but when I've done it in America, while visiting a friend of mine, some other people asked us if we were gay. Edit. They didn't came to our face saying, "Hey buddy, you're gay." They simply misunderstood and told this friend of mine they didn't know he was not straight. It was nothing disrespectful. If you ever find yourself surrounded by 3 or more Spaniards and want to start a mini civil war, you only have to ask, with or without onion. You don't need to specify what. They'll all know instantly what you're talking about. In the highly unlikely event that they all were in agreement, there is a follow-up question. Guaranteed to succeed where the former one failed. Raw egg, or fully cooked. Although the degenerates who like their egg raw refer to it as being juicy or delicious, you'll have massive argument going on in no time. What can I say? We take potato omelette very seriously. What movie plot hole still bothers you to this day? Just watch the Bigfoot cartoon movie on Netflix. The kid says he inherited the ability to run very fast and talk to animals due to being Bigfoot's son. However, Bigfoot was originally a human scientist that was changed into Bigfoot after a science experiment went wrong. His kid was already born when this happened, so no way did he inherit powers. Bothered me more than it should for a kid's movie. I'm pretty sure the experiment happened before the kid was born, but that movie is already pretty weird. Like, why doesn't he just let the bad guys take his DNA? What will it do? How is it? But no one knows. In Waterworld, paper is the most precious commodity in existence, yet there is inexplicably copious cigarette smoking. Well, now that you put it that way, I realize paper is precious because everyone's smoking it. In Polar Express, the kid who almost misses a train never gets gifts from Santa for Christmas, presumably because his parents can't afford presents, meaning either A, Santa isn't real, or B, Santa hates poor people. But at the end of the movie the main kid gets the bell from Santa directly, so canonically Santa said F that kid in particular, I guess. This has haunted me for decades. Cinderella has always bothered me. We are supposed to believe the prince falls in love and remembers nothing about this woman. No one remembers her face, hair color, nothing. Also, why didn't the shoes disappear? Fairy godmother was just effing with Cinderella and the prince. When did something bad happen to someone you knew, but you felt good about it? When my former backstabbing manager's job popped up in LinkedIn's jobs suggested for you section, she was let go shortly after I quit due to her borderline abuse and toxic behavior. Evidently, my formal complaint and resignation was the straw that broke the camel's back. A family friend who used to bully me incessantly. She went to jail because she tried to rob someone and a pregnant lady got shot. As soon as she got out, she went right back in for attempted murder by B. Oh, so she's garbage. A guy was bullying me for a period of time. I didn't do much about it because I incorrectly thought he would eventually get bored and move on. Shortly after my mother died I was really struggling and talked to some friends about my grief. They told the bully to lay off me cause I was grieving. Well, he didn't. In fact, he turned it up several notches. One day a teacher saw him going at me saying my mom was a CB who deserved to die. The bully got suspended, went out to his car and peeled out in anger. Unfortunately for him, he hit a cinder block in the parking lot. He wasn't hurt but his car was F-ed. Till this day I wish I had witnessed that. My workplace had a relatively new director who was effing awful and everyone hated, and a manager who was also relatively new but overall well liked and suited for the role. Director was a massive beta manager, completely controlling and kept piling more and more work on her. Director herself would stroll in at 11 AM and do nothing all day, ignore staff's questions or requests for help, and generally be totally useless. Then when manager couldn't get everything done because she was literally responsible for her own job plus the director's, director fired her in the middle of a workday. 2 weeks later, director is fired. I've never been happy seeing someone lose their job but goddamn, she deserved it.